Hey guys, welcome to my channel. A student of mine asked me how to make a wicker basket, so I thought it would be a good video for this channel, so let's start. But before we start, I want to tell you about the introduction to 3D modeling class that I created at the Academy of Animated Art. It's a beginner class. If you've never taken Maya before, if you've never opened a 3D application, this is the class for you. My tutorials on YouTube are a little more advanced for beginners, so this is a perfect class to get you started into 3D modeling. Please check it out and let me know how you like it. I downloaded this Wicker texture, but it's kind of low resolution, so I want to upres it. So I'm using Gigapixel AI. It's an upresing application from Topaz. There's a link in the description. If you use the link that I provide, you get a discount, and I get a little bit support. So please take a look. But let's open up this image, and we're just going to upres it. We'll do a 4K upres, 4X upres. So it's going to take us almost to 4K, and then we'll downres it to 2K. So it's upres. Let's export. We'll export it to the same location, and we'll just put a suffix gigapixel like this, and click save. So I have it open in Photoshop now. Let's take a look at it, and we have a lot of detail here. Let's downres it to 2K, so image size 2048. That, and let's do preserve detail 2.0. Click OK. And I'm going to file, save as, and we'll just make a new one. This one is 1K. We'll call this 2K, like that, and save as a PNG. Close Photoshop. Now in Maya, I already made a project called Wicker Basket. So you just go to the project window, click New, make a project, and let's start with a plane. Open up the Hypershade. We'll make a standard surface right here, and just assign that to our plane. Control A, go to the standard surface, click the checker box here, and then File, and that should take us to our source images where we have our texture saved like this. So it's going to be a little shiny. We can just turn off the roughness like that. From the top view, turn this off. I want to isolate a section I'm going to use, right? So what I need to do is make a tileable section that we can just reuse. And so I'm looking for the best one here. I think this one looks good. And we'll do like a middle. We'll do a section like this. So now we just need to use the need to add some cuts here. So I'm going to start by adding edge loops. So use the insert edge loop tool without edge flow, and we'll go slightly outside of what we want to isolate. I want to isolate the center line here, and then we chose this guy. So we're going to go above and then below, like that. So this is the section we're going to use. Now we can be a little more precise and put a line right down the middle here and down the middle here. And if we count, there's 3, 1, 2, 3, so that means we need one right down the middle over here, and here as well. Leave that. And now let's check if it's tileable. I want to make sure that this is centered like that, and then we have a centered line down here because we're going to be reusing this. But just to check, so let's move our pivot, hold D and V, move pivot there, duplicate, hold V, snap here, and then Shift D. You can see, so that works. Now if we duplicate again, select the blue arrow, hold V, drop it down, Shift D, and you can see it tiles really nicely. So let's delete it. So select the first one, Shift select over the whole thing, and then delete. Okay, so now that's tileable. So let's model this. There's a couple ways we can do this. We can actually just make geometry and then project the texture. Now, in order for us to do that, we would need the original back. So what we can do here is take this piece and do Control C. Sometimes if you forget to keep the old one, just this works really well. Just select the object, Control C, and then undo a bunch of times. And we're gonna undo before we made all the cuts. Go to Edit and select Paste. And so here's our plane. So this is the section that we cut out, and then we have the original. Now the reason I'm doing it this way, I want to make sure that I keep all of this. I'm going to duplicate that and just hide it just in case. Is because what we can do now, I'm going to hide that as well, is that I can model using this as a guide. So what I mean is this. I'm going to make a cube here. And then delete this just to make an actual cube or tube, right? And then if we press 3, you can see it subdivides. So we're going to just do a poly smooth. It's going to turn it into a shape like that. And then we don't need center line here. And take this. I'm going to hold D and B, snap vertex there, snap it here, then snap these vertices to the bottom here. And then what I want to do is I want to scale it. Hold Control and select the blue scale manipulator, and we can scale it like this and line it up there. I can move this over now, duplicate it, move it over, and line up this one. And then we're just going to scale it X until we are happy with it. Move this over, scale that. With this one, I want to move the pivot on the other side and snap to the edge here. This one's a little wider. And it's okay if it's not perfect, because it kind of makes it nicer. Duplicate. I center the pivot, so modify center pivot. There it is. And we can now hold J and then rotate in the Y direction this way. I'm going to hold, select these vertices, hold V, pre-select this direction and snap to the edge there. Same here. And now we just need to match the width. There. Now the other side is actually half. So we'll take this half here and then click extract. That's going to separate them into two halves. So I select those faces, extracted them, clear history, Shift P to drop it out of the group. So this one, we're going to snap here. Actually, we want to snap it here. We want to snap first to this vertex, and then snap it to the edge of that. And then the same here. Snap here. There. So basically what we did is we made this, all the tubes that we need to make this lattice, they're just not intersecting yet. So in order for us to do that, to intersect them, we're just going to need to add some subdivisions. I'm going to set this to multi, the insert edge loop tool, and then set this to maybe like 5. We'll see if that works. 5 is not enough. Let's do 7. 7's good. And then 7 here and 7 here. Because these two are basically the same, I'm going to combine them into one object, because we have to move them together. So now, this is what we have to do. We take this part and move it below, and it can intersect. It's okay. So something like this. Then take these two and move them above. Have them intersect a little bit. We can take the edges here, drop them down a little, just to round that off. Take these guys and bring them up. There. So for this part, it's the opposite. We take the ends here together, move them up, intersect is okay. take these vertices, move them down, and again, it's okay to intersect. Let me get rid of the grid, it's really annoying. Okay, select these vertices, bring them up a little bit to give it a curve, and these guys will bring down. All right, so that's the base. Now here's the thing: when the wicker actually touches, it kind of pushes in a little bit, but over here it actually pushes out. So we want to scale this out to give it like a little bit of a thing, right? And then here we're going to take this, make sure we're doing it properly, and we're going to scale this in, kind of wrap around like that. We can also just take these vertices here and just kind of pull them in. Just a little bit of intersection. Okay. Good. Now we can combine them. Now the thing is, if we apply our texture to this, it's going to be bad. So assign existing, and we'll assign our let's see, standard 3. That's the one that has a texture, and you can see what it looks like. But because we have our original plane, we can actually project this texture onto these this object by matching their UVs. Now here's the thing: if I have this plane and I do a planar UV projection, right? So planar projection from Y, and I click apply, it doesn't change because it's already a square. So that means if I select both of them, Maya will use the largest outside object and project them together. So now if we look at the UVs, you can see this is what they look like. If we turn the checker on here, sometimes it doesn't work. I don't understand why. There it is. You can see what it did. It projected the UVs using this plane. So we can hide this now, clear history, hide this. And now let's just check if it's tileable. Press 5, and you can see what it looks like. And 6, we have our texture. Next, we can use this to make a basket. So let's do that. Okay, we need to test if there's any issues with non-manifold geometry. So I'm just going to delete most of this and just leave a couple. And then we'll merge them and see what happens. So first we combine, and then click merge. Double click the merge. It's under edit mesh, merge. And I have the threshold set to really low, 0.00001, and hit apply. And now let's test if there's any non-manifold geometry. So you want to clear history, Shift Alt D, and then mesh. Under cleanup, we're going to click reset. You want to click select and turn on non-manifold geo. It's going to select almost everything. And if we look at to see where the issues are, and it's right here. So you can see the issues here are these vertices. So we actually know how to fix it. So let's do that. So we just want to undo, delete the parts we don't need. Double check that there's no double geo here. So what's happening here is that when we are combining this part with this one, these are touching. So we want to separate them. So it's actually a really easy fix. I'm going to take the faces here at the end, these guys, and just scale them in a tiny bit. You can use plus to increase the manipulator size. Just going to scale them away from the edge. Now when we duplicate, and then combine and merge, check for non-manifold geo. Nothing selected, that means there's no non-manifold geo. Alright, so we're ready to go. So let's just undo again. Alright. use minus to scale down the manipulator, and we're going to go out. I'm not sure how wide we need this to go, but we'll just go as far as we think. We can always reduce it. And then we're going to combine like that and clear history just to start something clean. Move my pivot, hold D and B, move the pivot here, duplicate, snap here, holding V, and then Shift D. So Shift D duplicates with transform. And I'm trying to figure out how tall the vase should be, so something like that. Maybe like that. Okay, now let's combine. And then clear history. And now we can do a merge. And just to be safe, we can do a quick cleanup check. Okay, no non-FLG. Now at the top, we don't need this part. Right, we want a whole section here, so we can just delete the half. That, and same on the bottom. Now let's take this and turn it on its side. And let's center it on the grid here. And let's apply our deformer. So we're going to go to hold spacebar, click deform, and select nonlinear bend. So we need to make sure that this is lined up to our geometry. So I'm going to hold J and then rotate it to make sure it's lined up this way. And then if I left click the curvature, then hold Control and middle drag in the viewport, you can see we can bend it. And we're going to go all the way to 180. So this is going to be the thickness of the vase, but I want it to be thinner. Like this is too wide, so I'm going to go thinner, and all we have to do is just scale this. Now if you look from the top view here, in order to scale it so that it properly closes up, I'm going to go, I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to look in here and press 4, and I'm going to stop it until when it overlaps like this. Good. And now what I need to do is select these edge loops here, the ones that overlap, hold Control and deselect these guys, and do a detach component. Now, if I select the faces on this side, and then use Shift greater than or it's Shift period, we can scale this, and it should stop when it gets to those edges that we cut. Yeah, and just hit delete. Okay, and then we just need to delete these extra vertical pieces. Some of these are, we can just double click them. So hold Shift, double click, and hit delete. Now I want to merge these vertices here. Yes, if it's actually merged. I press 3, it's going to subdivide. It's going to be a little slow because we're subdividing quite a bit. So those did not merge. So I'm going to click merge again. Wait for it. And we're going to set this to a little smaller. So I'm going to remove one of the zeros. And we're going to keep removing zeros until it merges. Okay, I think that didn't work. 0.001. Let's try that. Okay, so that merged. Clear history. And this is our vase cylinder. Now we need to make it into the vase shape. And there's a couple ways to do it. The easiest way is just to put a lattice on it. We can also make a curve to kind of to figure out the shape we want. So if I just kind of do this, sometimes when you have an autosave on and it happens mid curve, you will lose the curve creation. So something like this. I'm going to duplicate it, rotate another one on the other side, mount, and then we can press F8 and then just click the vertex here on and off. Then we can adjust these together. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to select both of the curves, group them, and then center them. And I want to place them in front of the vase so I can kind of see the shape here. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something like that. Now we can select the vase and then add a lattice. So it's under the form lattice. Go to the options, set this 2, 2, and 2, and this 30, 30, and 30, and hit apply. Come on. If it's a heavy object, sometimes it's going to take a little while for it to update, and we want U divisions. So something like this is good. Maybe a little more there. And then we can just scale. So I'm selecting and scaling from the center using the middle mouse button. Until I get the shape that I want. And I'm just doing one section at a time. Okay, that looks pretty good. All we have to do now is just select the main object, Shift-Alt-D to clear history, and then take a look. Press 6. It'll have the texture on it. And now we have our wicker vase. And delete the curves. And that's it. If you guys like this tutorial, hit the like button and subscribe. And leave a comment. And I'll see you guys next time.